Hey everyone, welcome. It's a happy New Year's. I can't believe it's 2023, but here we are. I hosted a intention setting workshop, intention manifesting workshop. As I get more and more into the neuroscience and the power of our minds, and the reason why we practice yoga, I can't help but to keep coming back to the foundation of yoga, right? The history and really the deep, wise practice. And I can't help but to think about what's the outcome that we're all seeking. So I thought I would just bring about some of the principles of yoga. And it comes from the sutras in the yogic tradition. And the Yoga Sutras really are a collection of aphorisms or sutras that provide guidance on the practice of yoga and the attainment of a state of spiritual enlightenment. And really, that's the path. The Yoga Sutras were written by the Indian sage Patanjali in the 2nd century and are considered a foundational text in the tradition of yoga, much like the Bible in Christianity. The Yoga Sutras outline the 8-limbed path of yoga, which consists of the yamas, which is ethical guidelines for interactions with others, the niyamas, which is the ethical guidelines for inner self-discipline and self-reflection. And then there's the common form of yoga, which is the asanas, which is physical postures. And then there's the pranayama, which is breathing techniques, and there's many of them. And then there's pratyahara, which is withdrawing from the senses, and dharana, which is concentration and focus, dhyana, which is meditation, and ultimately samadhi, which is absorption or enlightenment. Okay, that's the ultimate goal of all yogis. The Yoga Sutras are considered important because they provide a framework for a practice of yoga and offer guidance on the how to cultivate healthy and really the fulfillment of life. They are also considered important because they provide insight into the nature of reality and the path to spiritual enlightenment. And at the end of the day, if you're a human being, what you want is pleasure inside within you, and then you want pleasurable or pleasant environment outside your external environment. Sorry about that. My dogs are barking. Overall, though, the Yoga Sutras are an important text in the tradition of yoga and are widely studied and revered or respected by practitioners of yoga all around the world. The Yamas and Niyamas, the first 2 limbs, are an integral part of philosophy of yoga, which has its roots in ancient India. The yamas and the niyamas are traditionally considered the first 2 limbs of 8-limbed path of yoga that we just discussed, which is outlined in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. The Yoga Sutras are a collection of, like I said, the sutras or aphorisms, right? And it's intended to guide you in the practice of yoga and really the attainment and evolution of your spirit in your mind and body. The yamas and niyamas are described in the Yoga Sutras as ethical guidelines for living that can help any yogi or practitioner to cultivate a healthy and fulfilling life. And the yamas and niyamas are often referred to as the do's and the don'ts of yoga or yogic practice, and are meant to serve as a foundation for a life of mindfulness and self-awareness. And as I said, they are integral part of the philosophy of yoga, all the 8 limbs. And then the third limb, as I mentioned, is more about the asanas, the physical posture, which is widely popularized here in the West. The yamas, let's go into a little bit deeper in the niyamas. Yamas are ethical principles that relate to our interactions with others, with us and the external world all around us. So there are 5 yamas. First is ahimsa, satya, asteya, brahmakarya, aparigraha is the 5th yama. Let's just kind of break down each one, just so you have an understanding of what the external ethical principles are. Ahimsa is non-harming or non-violence. This principle reminds us to act with kindness and compassion towards all beings, including ourselves. Satya is truthfulness. This principle encourages honesty and authenticity in our interactions with others, seeking always the truth both in who we are as well as to be truthful with others. Asteya is non-stealing, and this principle encourages us to respect the boundaries and possessions of others. Brahmakarya is self-control, and this principle encourages us to cultivate self-control and moderation in our actions as well as our desires. And lastly, aparigraha is non-greed or non-attachment. And this principle encourages us to let go and focus on what is truly important to us. And then that's the 5 for the yamas. And then the second limb is niyamas, which are ethical principles that relate to our inner world and our relationship with ourselves. And they include saucha, santosa, tapas, svadhyaya, and ishvara, pranihana. Okay, and let's go over and break down each one of these. And if I'm butchering the pronunciation, please forgive me. Saucha is all about purity. This principle encourages us to cultivate cleanliness and purity in our bodies, minds, as well as in our surroundings. Santosha is contentment, and this principle encourages us to cultivate gratitude and contentment with what we have. Tapas is discipline or self-control, and this principle encourages us to develop discipline and self-control in our thoughts and our actions. Svadhyaya is self-study, and this principle encourages us to engage in self-reflection and self-inquiry to better understand ourselves and our places in the world. Ishvara pranihana is surrender to the higher power. And this principle encourages us to let go really of our ego. The yamas and niyamas are very, very helpful, like I said, in our life as yogis. And reflecting on the yamas and niyamas, it's helpful to, as we get into 2023, to take some time to read and reflect on what it is that we're achieving through the practice of yoga, as I discussed both in yamas and niyamas, before you come to a physical practice of asana. It's all about mind-body connection and evolution into our spirit, and elevation is the practice. And really, it's all about practicing mindfulness, paying attention to your thoughts, your words, and your actions, and really cultivate mindfulness in your daily life through everything that you do, because this can really help you to become more aware of how you are living in alignment with the yamas and niyamas, both external to you as well as within you. So I want to recommend that you take small steps, and it's completely okay to take or start small. You don't have to make all the changes all at once, but know and reflect upon what we talked about, what the yamas and niyamas are as we go into the asana practice, and really incorporate small little changes in your daily routine, especially in the arena of self awareness and self study, and really create and cultivate habits that align with your yamas and your niyamas. Also, I want to recommend that you seek guidance. If you're new to yamas and niyamas, it can be helpful to seek guidance from a qualified yoga teacher or a mentor, and they can provide support and guidance as you work to cultivate these principles in your life. And overall, practicing the yamas and niyamas is a lifelong journey that requires effort and commitment. And it's a sacred place or practice. So I really want you to hone in, really master this mind body connection. And it's important to be patient and kind to yourself as you work to cultivate these principles in your life. Thank you again for joining me. Happy New Year, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye for now.